Good afternoon. Today we're going to learn about root cause analysis and how this structured problem-solving technique is used in business environments. In particular, I'm going to focus on the identification of the root cause of a problem and avoiding the temptation to immediately deal with the effects that arise from the problem. I'll also demonstrate how to generate problem statements and select solutions to deal with and solve the problem. Firstly, let's look at the all-important concept of symptoms versus root causes. When you're resolving a problem, it's important to understand the difference between a cause and a symptom. A symptom is simply an indicator that a problem exists. Treating a symptom alone can leave you in an endless cycle of recurrence. Tackling the root cause is the only way to achieve a long-lasting result. Let's take a look at some common scenarios occurring in a business environment. How often have you heard the phrase, "I don't have enough time"? Lack of time, or perceived lack of time, is not a root cause of a problem. It is a symptom arising from something more fundamental, such as lack of clarity with a work assignment or role, lack of necessary skills to complete the task in a timely manner, too many tasks to perform in the given time frame, tasks were delegated that should have been performed by others, trouble with task prioritization.
Low workplace morale is another issue that may be misdiagnosed as a root cause problem, but it is just a mere symptom of a more extensive concern with your organization. Possible root causes that contribute to low workplace morale include the management team lacks the necessary leadership and motivational skills, undefined career progression pathways, providing inadequate performance raises, having unrealistic expectations or unreasonable workloads, and/or a lack of self-motivation and autonomy in the workplace. As you can see, it's more difficult to treat symptoms of a root cause problem without going the extra mile to identify the root cause leading to the exhibition of specific symptoms.
Now, we're going to take a look at the root cause analysis process, starting at the beginning, defining the problem. To start the root cause analysis process on a sure footing, you need to select and clearly define the problem at hand by forming a concise, fact-based problem statement. The problem statement will guide the resolution process and will clearly set out the scope of the work needed as you go forward. To help write a problem statement, you can use the 7 key questions technique: what, when, where, why, who, how much. By asking these questions, you will cover all of the basics you need to write a thorough problem statement. The 7 key questions can help you write a high-level overview problem statement, or one that's much more granular in detail. For example, if you are drafting an overview, you can ask each one of the 7 questions once, like, what is the problem to be solved? Why is it a problem? Where is the problem observed? And so on. In contrast, you can deep dive in on all 7 of the questions for a more detailed statement. For this example, we'll just focus on the what questions. What about the process can't be changed? What do we need to make this process faster? What do stakeholders like about this process? What do other departments do when faced with a similar problem? What work activities make this process fail? Using either method is an effective way to craft a solid problem statement.
Performing a historical review is the next most practical technique to apply immediately after obtaining the problem statement. One of Jim Rohn's famous quotes states, "Everything you need for your better future and success has already been written." Studying historical patterns to complement the problem statement can help leaders achieve more straightforward, insightful resolutions for future problems. Let's take risk and uncertainty as an example. Leaders face risks daily, both internally and externally. Leaders must also deal with uncertainty. In other words, what will the future look like? By looking to the past, leaders can use companies' prior experiences to help them respond to risks and uncertainties in the present. Reviewing historical knowledge can also help us understand past decisions. Leaders can use their knowledge of the past to make better choices. Organizational decisions made in the past provide a solid infrastructure upon which to build their current goals. Moreover, by accessing historical documentation, leaders can ensure they have accurate data to support their decisions. Considering the strengths and weaknesses of historical events enhance the probability of making the best possible choice.
Now that your problem statement is crafted and you've completed a historical review, you can focus on 4 ways to identify problem causes: goal setting, outcomes and processes, mapping your processes, performing a gap analysis, making data-driven decisions. Our first rule in problem identification: diagnostics before prescription. Why, you might ask? Imagine going into a surgeon's office complaining of a headache. During the conversation, you tell the surgeon that you've done research on the internet and have determined that you have had a brain aneurysm. The surgeon replies, "Okay," and immediately wheels you into the OR and begins operating. Wouldn't you prefer the surgeon to have instead asked probing questions, checked your medical history, run diagnostic tests, reviewed your medical imagery, obtained and reviewed data, and consulted with other professionals before immediately acting upon your suggested problem? It's the same in business. Before you jump to what may be unfounded conclusions, you need to fully investigate the root cause of the problem by probing and asking the right questions, i.e., 5W2H questions. And you need to gather the opinions and knowledge of other people who have some experience of the problem at hand. Here is a short list of other services we offer in addition to the root cause analysis we are discussing today. I will attach my contact information to the end of this presentation, and this video will be saved to our Program Management and Quality Improvement SharePoint site for future viewing. Another rule we use to guide our activities is that of strategy before tactics. Notice the chessboard visual above. The chess pieces alone represent tactics. If you don't have a strategy to deploy tactics and use them together for a win, you're just moving pieces around the board. We work together to plan forward by tethering tactics to your objectives and ruling out any tactic that isn't needed to execute the strategy. Let's take a look at another step in the process to identify problem causes: goal creation. You have a program. That program has goals. Those goals should be based on clearly defined processes and outcomes. Processes show the steps taken in order to achieve your goal, while outcomes tell you whether a program has achieved its stated goals. We can use the AIDS Institute as a good example. One of their outcomes was end the epidemic by 2020. Some of their processes that supported the desired outcome were HIV surveillance, viral load suppression, and the Expanded Syringe Access Program, ESAP. The effects of goal setting are very reliable. Failures to replicate them are usually due to errors, including not matching the goal to performance measures, not providing feedback, setting a performance goal when a learning goal is needed, not including a sufficient range of goal difficulty levels. Now you have your outcomes and goals outlined. We can start mapping your processes. Process mapping outlines logical workflows and various steps in a process, and it shows how these steps are linked with each other. A process map will help you communicate to other people how a proposed process works in a concise and straightforward way, and serves as a great tool for knowledge management. This is a quick overview on how you can create maps of your own processes. Doing so allows you to create a process inventory, which serves as a great starting point for any process improvement going forward. The first step would be to document a high-level overview of the major steps of the process. Step 2, add some detail before explaining those steps, and then finally add data. You could include input and output rate of the process, the time it takes to complete each step, the time it takes to move from one step until the next step, the percentage of work that moves through the steps without having to be redone, and/or steps in the process where work gets bottlenecked. Another useful technique is gap analysis. You can review the current state of reality of your process maps and work to define the changes of how you want things to work in the future. From this, you should be able to identify the gaps and construct an action plan to move forward. Now that you have identified the gaps that you need to fill and focus on, it's time to make some decisions and select some solutions that will solve your problem. Having gone through the root cause analysis process, you should have lots of data, metrics, facts, and information that can guide your decision-making process. To help select the right solutions based on a clear understanding of your desired processes and based on real data, you can use this matrix to help prioritize your selected solutions. On the x-axis is the ease of use solution implementation, easy and difficult, and on the y-axis, impact of solution implementation, high and low. You can allocate each of your proposed solutions to one of the 4 resulting matrix quadrants: quick wins, momentum builders, major project, and derailers. Based on your matrix, you might prioritize the easy and low-cost solutions and put off or reject the difficult and high-cost solutions. I hope that this presentation has helped you better understand the role of root cause analysis and how this technique can lead to better decision-making and long-lasting solutions. The key takeaways are as follows. Symptoms are the effects of a problem, not the root cause. Defining and clearly understanding the root cause of a problem takes you a long way to solving it. Ask questions and consult your colleagues to ensure you can fully understand and articulate the problem. Use process mapping to define your ideal future state and way of working. Apply gap analysis to compare your current and future states. Use data to help select a range of solutions to fix your problem. Prioritize your solutions based on those that give the biggest bang for your buck. Thank you for listening. Any questions?